Welcome everyone. Previously we discussed about the concept of calls in advance, and I hope you know the concept of calls in advance and the journal entries with regard to that. Let us discuss some of the cases with regard to that. And these were the entries with regard to calls in advance which we have discussed in the last class. So let us try a case with regard to that. A limited company issued 10,000 shares of rupees 10 each. Payment on these shares is to be made in the following manner: application money of rupees 4, and the payment was made on 1st January 2019. Allotment money is rupees 4, 1st March 2019. And finally the last call amount rupees 2 on 1st April 2019. So when the date is specified in the question, you have to note the date in the date column of the journal, and whenever the date is specified in the question, you have to find some adjustments with regard to that. So go through the question wisely. Apart from that, there are some more informations. X, a person who subscribed the shares of the company, to whom 500 shares were allotted, paid the full amount on application, and Y, to whom 100 shares were allotted, paid the final call money on allotment. So there are two parties who had made advance payments, that is one Mr. X and one Mr. Y. X, to whom 500 shares were allotted, paid the full amount on application. So here the sentence is quite tricky, because full amount on application, you can find that the person has paid the full amount of application at the time of application payment. It is not like that. That the specific person has paid all the payments along with the application money. That is the meaning of the sentence. X, to whom 500 shares were allotted, paid the full amount. Full amount means, that means with regard to all the installments of the shares, full amount on application. Otherwise they need not have to mention that the certain person has paid the application money. We all know that is a rule, but it means that specific person has paid all the installments, that is application, allotment, final call. Whereas Mr. Y, to whom 100 shares were allotted, paid the final call money on allotment. So that person has made the payment of final call along with the allotment. So these are the additional information with regard to that. So let us prepare the journal entries and write down some of the working notes with regard to that. So format of the journal entry: date, particulars, ledger folio, debit and credit. First of all, we'll begin with the receipt of application money, bank account up to share application. Here a total of 10,000 into 4, that is 4,000, 40,000 rupees of application amount has been received. But remember, in this question there is an adjustment. A certain person to whom 500 shares were allotted, paid not only the application money but also the allotment as well as the final call. So 4 into 10,000, 40,000, that is the actual amount with regard to application money that is received by the concern. But apart from that, a certain person, that is X, who hold 500 shares, paid the allotment money as well as final call along with this 40,000. So actual amount of money collected at the time of application money is not 40,000, it is 43,000, and the amount is obtained by, see, 10,000 into 4, 40,000. Apart from that, a certain person holding 500 shares paid allotment. So 500 into 4, 2000, and also he had made the payment of final call at the time of application. Again same case, 500 into 2, 1000. So 2000 plus 3000, 43,000. That's how we have obtained the amount 43,000 instead of 40,000. I hope you are getting the concept. Let me show with a working note. Received, how much was the amount received from Mr. X? So actual amount to be received at the time of application collection was 40,000. So we need to find the advance, how much was the advance amount received by the company from that particular person. So amount received in advance from Mr. X is, he has paid the allotment and call money at the time of application. So how much was the amount of allotment? He hold 500 shares and value of one allotment is 4. So 500 into 4, 2000. Next one, he also paid made the payment of final call. So 500 into 2000. So total of 3,000. So out of 40,000, no, that amount has to be collected by the company at the time of application. The company also received the payment of rupees 3,000 from Mr. X. So total of 40,000 plus 3,000, 43,000 was the amount collected by the company. So this is an adjustment with regard to the calls in advance. You have to be very cautiously deal the questions when such adjustments come in an examination. So we have passed the entry with regard to the amount received. Next, you need to pass the due entry. So at the time of due entry, you have to show the amounts separately. Separately means here the amount has been collected as a whole or a single amount 43,000, but while showing or recording the transaction or recording the amounts in the particular accounts, you have to show the amount separately, because calls in advance is a concept where the amount is received by the company, but the company can't transfer the amount to the particular share capital account unless and until that transaction is due, because here the certain person has paid the allotment and final call in advance, so he can't directly transfer it to the share capital account, and it has to be transferred to the allotment and calls in advances account until the installment is due. So next one, due entry on the same date, share application account up to share capital to share allotment to calls in advance. You can either write calls in advance or you can write final call. Okay, the total amount collected as part of application is 43,000, out of which the actual amount that can be transferred to the share capital account is 40,000. Next one, advance amount received on allotment is 2,000 and advance amount received on calls is 1,000. Here don't get confused, here calls in advance is actually, here this one represents the final call, so they have written to calls in advance, or you can write to final call or last call, like that. And don't forget to pass the necessary narration with regard to each of the journal entries. So this is how you have to deal with calls in advance. Next one, once the application is complete, next you have to go for the allotment. In the case of allotment also there is an adjustment. So first of all, you need to pass the due entry. Adjustments usually come in the case of bank entries. So first one, due entry, the amount has to be collected is 10,000 into 4, 40,000. That is being allotment money due on 10,000 shares at rupees 4 per share. So once the due entry has been passed, the company has made necessary arrangement for collecting the payment. The entry is bank account up to share allotment and calls in advance. Here there is an advance amount. Mr. Y, to whom 100 shares were allotted, paid the final call money on allotment. So that is how the calls in advance 200 is came. We can find out the computations here. See, the amount received in advance from Mr. Y. Y, who holds 100 shares, paid in advance the final call. So 100 into 2, you will get 200. So 200 was the amount that was paid in advance at the time of allotment. So at the time of allotment, you have to adjust the amount after considering the calls in advance. So the total amount has to be collected at the time of allotment is 40,000. We have written here, but out of 40,000, 2,000 was already paid by a certain person, and we have shown that adjustment here. So now the company has to show only the amount 38,000 because 2,000 is already entered in the concerned share allotment account. So now the company has 38,000 in cash because the company has already collected 2,000. So the company need not have to go and ask 2,000 from Mr. X because he has already paid the amount. So after deducting this 2,000, the rest of the amount should be shown in the journal entry. So bank account debtor 40,000 minus 2,000, 38,000, and remember in this case there is an adjustment, that is 200 in advance. So total amount collected is 38,000 plus 200, 38,200. So the total amount of allotment is 38,000 and calls in advance is 200. So being the amount received on allotment and calls in advance. So that is with regard to the allotment. Next one, finally the final call. You need to pass the due entry. Due entry is 10,000 shares into 2, 20,000. So share final call account up to share capital 20,000. Narration being the final call due on 10,000 shares. But in this case also there is an adjustment. Do the company have to collect 20,000 from the shareholders? No, because in the course of collecting various installments, the company has received some advance payments in each of these installments. In case of final call, the company has received 2 advance payments, that is one of rupees 1000 from Mr. X and another of rupees 200 from Mr. Y. So after considering these 2 amounts only, the company can collect the amount. So out of 20,000, only 18,800 can be collected, that is 20,000 minus 1000 and minus 200, because the company already received that amount from the prospective shareholders. So the remaining amount only the company have to collect. So the entry will be bank account debtor 18,800, calls in advance. See, from the above entries you can get here there is a calls in advance 1000 and another advance amount is C calls in advance 200. So 1000 plus 200, 1200. So out of 20,000 the company need to collect only 18,800. I believe you have understand the concept. While dealing with the question of calls in advance, you have to be very cautious with regard to passing entry with regard to calls in advance, and after that you need to consider the advance amount at the time of the actual installment. If a final call amount is paid in advance, by the time of entering the final call entry you need to deduct that advance amount and then only show the rest amount or the balance amount after adjusting the calls in advance. And the advances should be made and the entries should be made with regard to the advances appropriately, and these are the advances amount. We have already shown those amount here. So let us go to the next area. Interest on calls in advance. We have learned about the same pattern in the case of calls in arrears. Whenever there is a advance payment by any of the potential shareholders, the company should provide the interest on the amount collected in advance. As calls in advance is a liability of a company because it is an amount received in advance by the company, so it is a liability. So it is under an obligation if provided by the articles of association to pay interest on such amount. If the company has adopted Table A of the Companies Act of 2013, then it is required to pay the interest not exceeding 6% on such calls in advance from the date of receipt of such money up to the date when the appropriate call is due for payment. So that is with regard to calls in advance. Remember, the interest rates in case of calls in arrears and calls in advance, they are different, and the thing is, in the question they may not mention about the interest rates because these interest rates are default. If there is any change in the interest rate, it will be mentioned in the question. If not, default interest rate has to be considered. In case of calls in arrears, it is 5%. In case of calls in advance, it is not more than 6%. That is 6%. And otherwise, it will be specified in the question. So, if the company have to charge the interest on, or if the company have to pay the interest on calls in advance to the prospective shareholders, then there will be certain journal entry with regard to that. So let us discuss the entries. Whenever an interest on calls in advance is made, at the time of due of interest, the entry will be interest on calls in advance account debtor to sundry members or shareholders. Interest on calls in advance is actually an expense, so it is debited, being the interest due on calls in advance. That is a narration with regard to this journal entry. Next one, at the time of payment of the interest, the entry will be shareholders account debtor to the bank, being the amount on interest paid. So these are the two journal entries with regard to interest on calls in advance. So right now we have learned about the concept of calls in arrears as well as calls in advance. These two situations usually emerge at the time of issue of shares, and usually you will be dealing with a question where either of the one of the situation will come, and cases in which both the situations will become is a rare situation, but you should prepare to deal with any type of questions you are going to face in a university exam. Anyway, let us discuss some of the differences between calls in arrears and calls in advance. I believe you know the concept of calls in arrears and concept of calls in advance. So the differences are, first one, it is a default on the part of the shareholder. Yes, that is, whenever a shareholder fails to pay any of the installments, calls in arrears arises. Calls in advance is a situation in which whenever a shareholder paid any of the installments in advance, that is known as calls in advance. So it is an advance payment towards calls. It will be any of the calls. It may be in the case of allotment, or it may be in the case of a first call, or it may be in the case of second call, or it may be in the case of final call. Next one, deduction from called up capital to get paid up capital. We have done a computation with regard to that. In order, at the time of preparation of balance sheet, in order to show the actual capital, you need to deduct the calls in arrears from the called up capital in order to arrive at the paid up capital. That is the actual amount of capital collected. In order to get that amount, you need to deduct calls in arrears. Whereas calls in advance, it is not added to paid up capital, it is shown in the liability side. Because it is an advanced amount received. Next one, it is the amount of called up but not paid up. Called up is the amount of capital for which the company has made necessary arrangements for intimating the shareholders to make the payment. So it is just a called up amount and not the paid up, because it is not even paid. It is a default in payment. Whenever the payment is made, only it will be known as paid up capital, and call scenarios is failure to make the payment. So it is not a paid up capital. It involves or it includes in the called up capital. It is amount not called up but paid. In case of calls in advance, here the actual amount is paid. The thing is, it is not paid on the due date, it is paid in advance. That is the concept. It is neither called up or paid up. It is shown as a separate item in the liability side of the balance sheet. It is an amount due to the company. There is some shareholder who failed to pay the amount, but and still the shareholder must pay the amount to the company. So it is some amount due to the company, whereas the calls in advance is an amount due to the shareholder, because it's an amount received in advance by the company and it is actually a liability. So it is an amount due to the shareholders. And finally, as per table F, Companies Act 2013, 5% is the interest rate in case of calls in arrears, whereas in case of calls in advance it is 6%. Even though these are the default interest rate with regard to calls in arrears and calls in advance, in actual practice, as per the Companies Act, usually calls in arrears is charged the double of the default rate, that is 5% in case of calls in arrears, but in actual it is usually the company will charge 10%. And in case of calls in advance, even though 6% is the default, the company will charge 12%. These are the new rates as per the Companies Act of 2013. Anyway, in the computation you need to follow only 5% and 6% concept. So these are the differences with regard to calls in arrears and calls in advance. And let us move on to the next one. Next case, Samtel Limited issued 2 lakh equity shares of rupees 10 each, where application amount is 2 and the date is given, allotment amount is 3, date is given, and first and final call amount 5, date is given. Shares were fully subscribed and paid in full. That means there were no arrears, that is calls in arrears was not there. And out of the shareholders, Mr. Manoj, to whom 5,000 shares were allotted, paid the call money along with the allotment. So there is a calls in advance, and interest on calls in advance should be given at 6%, past the necessary journal entries. So this is almost like the case which we have discussed. As part of a homework activity, try to identify the answer of this one. We will discuss about the same case in the next class and further theoretical aspects regarding the issue of shares in the coming sessions. So try to do this question as an activity.